Hey, how's it going, everybody? Good evening. Today, Erasmo's not going to be here. Um, Roy nor Maggie as well. Roy will be here like later on, hopefully. I guess once he gets home. Um, Not much to talk about today besides just a couple of events that are coming up in April as far as like Easter egg hunts. Sorry. Um, but other than that, everything's going good. We did have a good brunch. If anybody's wondering, they're around here. Um, hey, how's it going, Joe? Um, but other than that, hey, I'll probably just repeat whatever I said in the morning. We don't have much details as far as like the I guess the occurrences that have been going on, or they wanted to I guess wait until everybody was together to talk about the whole Lincoln Park issue. Although I do think that that's still going to proceed, um, unless people, I guess, demand for it to not to happen. But we're trying to see the pros and cons. I still don't see the con to it. Hey, how's it going? Finding 956 baby daddies. No, started solo, but now it's Roy who's with me.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, how's it going, Roy? Sorry to I guess interrupt your evening, man. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, you saved me, in fact, because I know so many of the folks out here where I came to have dinner. They pulled me up on stage and made me sing a few songs. So I'm like, I got to go have a podcast now.
You were singing karaoke with?
I was.
Was that I'm trying to remember the name of the place.
No. You're probably thinking about the Coral Reef.
Yes.
No, I used to host at the Coral Reef, but karaoke there doesn't start until 9:00. This is at Jake's on the Boulevard.
Oh, okay. At Jake's?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Danica is hosting tonight.
Cool, man. How was your day? You're getting ready for tomorrow?
I am excited.
Cool, man.
I've got a big day tomorrow. Very busy. I've got the bike ride in the morning. Then I've got West Brownsville Little League has their opening ceremonies tomorrow afternoon. Then the TSC 95th anniversary gala is tomorrow night.
Oh, that's true.
And then one of my very, very closest and dearest friends, his sister, is having a Sweet 16 birthday party. So I'll make an appearance for an hour or two at TSC. Then I'm headed over to the Sweet 16 party.
That's a busy day.
Yep.
Yeah, I had written some stuff in the morning. I guess just updates as far as like Easter egg hunts and the TSC gala and some other stuff. The Palo Alto. I know. Are you guys like doing it together or it's separate events? The bike riding with Palo Alto Living History thing.
I believe that's in conjunction. I believe it's in conjunction with that because I remember Dr. Gowan was mentioning making sure we take some pictures while they're doing the living history presentation.
Yeah, because I know that I heard that they were going to do like some
reenactments
and where they pop the cannons and whatnot.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
It should be a fun ride.
Yeah, because early in the morning I had set a couple of events. I'm just gonna go right through them really quick just to get them out of the way. So tomorrow from 10 to 12. Well, first is 9:30 your bike ride at the event center, and then at 10 o'clock from 10 to 12 the Palo Alto the weapons demonstration or the living history. There's also the Harmony Car Show from 3 to 7 p.m. I guess they're doing like a fundraiser and they're gonna have vendors and fundraising and everything there. I have here at April 6th, there's gonna be I guess a press conference for James Pace for his new book that is coming out called Mother of Exiles.
Don't forget tomorrow also you have the farmers market in the morning from 9 to 12 at Linear Park, and then market at the plaza at North Park Plaza from 3 to 6.
Correct. And I seen some other markets or farmers markets pop up. But I think it was from like the 956 coffee.
Okay.
But I saw that it was like in a residential area. Or maybe I put the address wrong. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I thought they had popped up at something around the Amigo Land area.
Yeah, I'll have to double check on the address. I know on Monday, the people from Big Red's Ranch are going to be coming up into the show to give their details regarding the Easter egg hunt that they have going on.
Nice.
They have one tomorrow and then one next week.
Okay.
As far as the details, I didn't want to. I guess I was just iffy about the details. I think it's like $10 per person on adults, and
That
then
I
like
don't know.
$2 per egg hunting person. But it includes like all the activities that they have there, so it's pretty good deal.
Nice.
They have the on April 9th, they have the conjunto competition at noon. But I think they're also doing like a what is it? A food drive for
Okay.
veterans on that day. And also on April 9th from 5 to 7, they have it's like an Easter egg hunt, but for dogs at the dog park.
Nice.
And I think there will be taking pictures with the dogs, but just I guess they're asking for all the dogs to be leashed,
Okay.
and only 2 dogs per person. So because I seen people take like their 9 dogs all
Yeah.
at once, but those are the people that handle dogs well. My dog's huge. I can't handle him.
Couldn't handle 9 of him.
And on that one, I think it's $5 for the one for the dogs.
Okay.
Um, let me see what's next here. On April 14th, the sports park from 6 to 8 p.m. The egg hunt. I think that's the one from the city, correct?
That sounds correct.
And then it's from children 9 and under. That's what I saw in the age groups from 1 to 9, and then they're also gonna have like a special needs like softball field for them. Like everybody's
I
in
think
groups.
they're narrower age groups because I know there's some of the younger ones and the special needs, and then I know there's I think 5 to 7 year olds, and then 7 to 9 year olds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it was
No,
like 1 to 3, 4 to 7, and then like 7 to 9. But that was like the general number, like from 1 to 9. I was just like,
Okay.
because in the morning I was by myself as well, and I'm like, let me write down some events because I don't like talking about. Well, not that I don't like talking about politics in the morning, but I don't want to start with a sour taste in the morning. You know, you want to start with a bit like your right foot forward. You know.
Yep.
And that one's free. The one on April 14th. And as far as I think that's about April 4th, Brownsville Chamber. Oh, Brownsville Chamber is doing like a middle school essay contest.
Okay.
First place is $2,000,
Nice.
and second place is $1,000, and third place is $500.
Are those scholarships?
They said cash awards.
Interesting.
Yes, it's from the U.S. Commerce.
Mm.
Something like that. But it's from Brownsville Chamber of Commerce, and it's like from 6 different cities that they were chosen from around the country.
Uh-huh.
And then each city has like their own set of like I guess awards because there's another city that's doing like instead of 2,000 they're giving 1,000, but they're doing like we'll give you 1,000 plus a laptop plus a trophy.
That's interesting.
So I don't know.
I've never heard of events or anything like that where you give cash in those quantities to minors. That just it sounds off. I know, like when we've done stuff
Like,
with Sombrero Festival.
The parents like, let me help you, mijo.
When we've done stuff with Sombrero Festival for kids, we'll have backpacks with school supplies, laptops or tablets, gift cards to different places. But yeah, we never give kids or minors cash.
That's what I saw. But I guess I'll double check on that. But as far as I saw, it was like cash prices.
Interesting.
But everybody had like a variation from like Brownsville was the one giving the most, like the $2,000 for first place. Everybody else was like the first 10, I guess finalists all of them would get laptops, but the first 3 would get like the laptops, the cash, and the trophy.
Interesting.
But it's an initiative for like civic engagement for middle schools. But other than that, do you have anything else coming up besides your busy Saturday?
Let's see.
I know you guys talked about the lamps, trying to get them higher.
Yes. Yeah, that's and I love the city. Otherwise I wouldn't have run for commissioner, but I remember these challenges when I was just a citizen and was serving on different boards, and we would try to be able to have input on different things, and we'd always get left out. And when that happens, when you don't have citizen input, stuff like this happens. We saw it with the Unified Development Code. Now we're seeing it with these streetlights, and that's because I'm a commissioner now, and I still get left out of a lot of decisions. The commission gets left out of a lot of decisions. And, you know, if the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, that's great. But when we see stuff like this, it's concerning.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see a couple of temporary lights that were placed in downtown today.
Good. They need to be.
Yeah, because I heard that they were complaining. I guess it was certain areas was getting a bit dark.
No,
So
they were
they
completely
closed.
like where Terrace is on Washington. So between, I would say 10th and 13th Street, it was really dark. And I think there was a light tower out in front of Las Ramblas at 11th, and then a light tower 2 blocks up at 13th, but neither one was on when we went to dinner. So the street was completely black. And, you know,
Which
there
is
with
like,
construction and stuff going on, there's trip
hazard.
hazards there. And I know we've seen posts from the Brownsville Police Department about criminals being arrested in the downtown area.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're getting the towers up. I know I've confirmed that the police department has increased patrols out there. It just shouldn't be that difficult.
It's even during the day, man. Like it's kind of like as it is, kind of shady with like some people that kind of like. Some people don't mind it. I don't mind it, but I know I did walk around there in downtown today in the morning. And there was some guy, like I guess he was just there, but I guess he had just taken a piss or something. But I'm like, I'm just keep on walking.
Yeah.
Let me go through the comments real quick. Let me see if they have any questions. If Roman joins, can you please kick him? Awesome. Yes, thanks, Roy. Ducky says hello. Hopefully today everybody will be nice. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you had a wonderful April 1st. Yes. How about doing a parody song duet?
I like that thought.
Hey, how's it going? What's up, Sam and Roy? The show is so much more civil with that other guy, Erasmo.
Is more civil with Erasmo, or much more civil without him?
I want to say without him.
I think that's what Luis was going for.
Good evening, Maggie and Sam. Are you and Erasmo now part of the fancy clique? Maggie couldn't make it. She had a long day, but hope she gets some rest. Are we now part of the fancy clique? No.
What would be the indicator that they're now possibly part of the fancy clique, Snoopy?
It's because we went to Terras today with Matthew.
Okay, nice. How'd you like it?
Good. I had that naan bread, which had like black bean spread with some pickled purple onions and cilantro on top.
Was this the cafecito side, or was this for dinner?
Brunch.
Okay, cafecito.
Yeah, it was good.
I have not been there for the cafecito yet.
We went. Erasmo had the avocado toast.
Really? After breaking my balls for mentioning avocado toast on the show the other day, that's what he has.
The thing is that it's not like on a sourdough, man. It's a little bit different.
It's good.
And then Matthew had the chilaquiles with ribeye tips.
Nice.
It's really good. The salsa it has at the very bottom. It has a good kick for like if you wake up hungover. But it's good.
Which one of you was hungover? You, Maggie, or Erasmo?
No, Matthew. It was Matthew, not Maggie.
Okay.
Matthew, one of the viewers. He's a pretty cool guy.
Nice.
No, Maggie was in school.
That's right.
I mean, the show is more civil tonight rather than when the other guy, Erasmo, is on.
I agree.
Hopefully.
But remember, he's watching us right now.
Right. I don't know. Well, he said he might jump in every once, but I doubt it because they're gonna have dinner, and then if he finishes early, I don't know.
Very good.
Is this a morning show?
It depends on what part of the planet you're on.
Because I did say the same things in the morning. Because I'm like, I looked through the whole thing. Like, I kind of went through the Facebook, and all I saw was a whole lot of accidents. Even the one from Morrison and Laredo Road.
Another one.
Yeah. Today it was a state trooper.
A trooper had an accident?
Yeah, with like I guess a regular civilian, but
Mm.
someone had posted that I think they were following somebody, like there was some sort of chase. But I wouldn't be able to confirm none of that stuff. You see, I have like 4 questions for Roy. I will post them on here when I'm done typing them. So if you want to answer them right away, Roy, or throughout the show, or say no comment if you can't. That's
Now,
not
the
allowed.
only reason I would say no comment is if it's personal that affects somebody else and I wouldn't want to divulge, or if it's something that I discussed in executive session and legally can't discuss. Other than that, I will always try and answer your questions.
Cool.
You know
And
what I think of
it's
when I
probably
see.
coming in May. I don't know. That's what I said yesterday, man. I'm like, we're really hoping it does after the whole audit.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's a cool guy. I'm pretty sure he can like spare like 15, 20 minutes just to be like, this was found, this was not. Everything's going smooth.
I'll encourage him, but yeah, you never know with my colleagues if they're willing to get out there
Yeah.
and put
I know
themselves in.
with some of them, it's a complete, like, it's a straight out no.
Yeah.
But him, I think he's still good guy. Still a good guy. Let's see here. In chess, it happens all the time. It does happen. I don't know what happens, but it always happens. I read somewhere that Elon Musk donated money for kids to ride free at Suburban Fest.
That
Is
is
that true?
correct. SpaceX, it wasn't Elon directly with SpaceX, was a corporate sponsor this year for Charo Days, Mr. Amigo, and Sombrero Festival. Their sponsorship for Sombrero Festival entailed extending the free kids rides all the way to 6 p.m. on the opening day, Thursday.
Cool. Well, at upper level chess, not scholastic chess, kids can win money.
Interest. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Okay, cash for kids.
Um, I guess that's the same thing as when they play like video games
Mm-hmm.
and they get like cash, like because some kids they get thousands of dollars, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Roy, we do cash prize money to students at our entrepreneurship challenge. First is 1,500. Second is 1,000. Third is 750.
Okay.
Seek
I like
money
that.
for their business concept that they present or for school needs. No different on prize money like FFA.
You know, and I
Okay.
should have known that because my dad was FFA. I was not, but yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
The mural situation also left out the input of local artists. That is another example of citizens being left out from the big decisions.
Yep. And yeah, if you guys watched the city commission meeting on Wednesday, the special meeting, I know that was one of the comments that was back and forth between myself and Commissioner Gowan. And remember, I love Rose Gowan. We get along great, but it's healthy to have discussions where we're on opposite sides. But that was one of the things, and I questioned when we're adopting a plan whether or not there's enough citizen input, because when we pass an ordinance, it's got to go through a first reading, a second reading, a public hearing with public input. And I know when other things come together, there are little town halls or little get-togethers where the public has the opportunity to come in and provide input. And I'm not saying that input never gets considered, but I've seen several instances where the input never gets where it needs to go, and things that should be in final versions get left out because, and I don't blame frontline staff for this. I think as it gets higher up, the powers that be are the ones who decide.
Like it doesn't make the impact it should be.
Right.
I hear you. Speaking of dark areas, the expressway has sections of lights that are off. They've been like this for months. That would be with TxDOT, ain't it?
Yep. And I'm not
But
sure which
would they
sections
be
that
able
would
to
be, 'cause
call
I'm-
it in to the city though?
Oh yeah. I don't know if calling it into the city would have any effect. I don't know if we've got a direct line to TxDOT through our call center, but yeah, it can be reported. Although I drive the freeway every now and then, and I don't remember sections that have been out for months, not inside the city limit anyway.
It's not like if when you drive the military highway.
Right. Yeah.
You're just
Washington
waiting for
State
someone to pop out of there, huh? Next one. What did they do with the old downtown lamps? They were so beautiful.
I had asked the question of what the plan was for them, and I believe they were checking to see which of them could be put back into use, whether it's going to be with the city or whether we would sell them to another city for their use or donate to another city for their use. And I think those that couldn't be reused would be recycled. Because I know I had constituents reaching out when the plan was first announced to put new lights downtown, encouraging us to donate to poorer communities.
Okay.
But I'm expecting that answer to come from staff.
Cool. Snoopy says, "What do you think of Erasmo's recent comment and him disagreeing still with you about the Brian hiring situation?" Um, Number two would be, "What do you think of Eddie Trevino? Has he done enough?"
Oh, let's start with question 2.
Okay.
I can't say that there's any public servant in my lifetime that I can say has done enough. And part of that, though, is really about having to work within the means that they've got. We don't have unlimited resources. I know there are a lot of things that our county judge would like to do, but a lot of times they're limited. And just like the arena is a perfect example. This is something that could be under construction already, that he would have liked to have seen under construction already, but this was something the voters had to approve. And this isn't about a new tax or new monies being collected. This is about, can we use the existing monies that we are on this particular project? And, in this case, the citizens said no. Like that, there's so many other things. And as an elected official, you always have to weigh what are the needs. And when the answer is raising taxes, because that's the only way to generate more revenue, do you want to do that when we know we're in one of the poorest areas of the country?
Yeah.
So has he done enough? No, but I can't fault him for that. I think he's done a very good job considering what he's had to contend with regard to the pandemic and other challenges that he's got and the limited resources. And then, of course, Austin is always tying the hands of the local jurisdictions, both city and county. So that's something else he has to contend with. And as a Democratic county judge in a state with a Republican-controlled legislature, a Republican governor, a Republican AG, it can be a real challenge. So I think given what he's fighting and facing, I think he's done a good job. Now,
as far as sorry to interrupt, as far as the
Sure.
hot tax, how much money do they have right now that could be allocated towards the arena?
That I do not know. Since that's county money, I don't even look at those budgets. I'm sure it's something we can pull up online because their budget should be public and what's in those coffers should be on a spreadsheet somewhere.
Wasn't
But
it going to be proportional? Like the city was going to give some, or the county was going to give so much, and the developer was going to give so much, or was it all county?
It's not all county because I know some of the revenue it comes from the hot tax, but other revenues that are expected to offset costs include from operating. From advertising, operating, selling tickets, things of that nature, booking the venue. So it's multiple sources that the revenue would come from. It's not just hot tax.
Oh, okay.
Now, what do you think of Erasmo's recent comments on him disagreeing still with you about the Brian hiring situation? I don't think he and I have really gotten into it. I think when I first came on the show and answered questions related to that, that was with you and Maggie, Sam. Erasmo was not on that night, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And so
I think it was already clarified.
I spoke to it. I clarified it as much as I could. And then on the next show, when I was not on and Erasmo came out and commented, he said he didn't agree with my answer. He still disagrees with me. And he thinks my answer was prepared in advance in anticipation of a question. And anybody that knows me well knows I go out there and the question comes at me, I give you an answer. I don't go in with rehearsed lines or prep lines or anything like that. I'm going to tell
the question that what it was in question is that, because you're saying that you're paying him out of your pocket, correct?
His salary comes out of my pocket. Anything that he has that has the City of Brownsville name on it, like the badge, the email, business cards, I pay for all of that. All of that's paid for by me. The taxpayers pay for nothing. He
still gets an email from the city and a badge from the city.
Yes.
As a representative for the city.
Not as a representative for the city. He gets that as my chief of staff. That's something that I requested for him. But he does not speak for the City of Brownsville when he speaks. He only speaks for me.
Okay. And did he receive does he need to go through any sort of training, such as the way you guys did for I think it was for the public information and all that other stuff, or no? Because you guys get some sort of training, correct? When you become commissioners?
We do get training when we become commissioners, and even when we're appointed to city boards, we get that training.
Yeah.
And it's even more important for citizens who are appointed to city boards, because citizens who are appointed to city boards don't get a city email. And why that's important is because when you're a citizen on a board and you're using your personal email to conduct business related to that board appointment, then when a public information request comes in, it's up to you, the citizen, whether or not to turn over those records. I mean, you don't have a choice. Legally, you're obligated to do it. But I have seen citizens that have served on boards and they get asked for their emails and they say, nope, I don't have any records.
Because they would have to go through the whole warrant thing.
Yeah, they would have to be
access to the
and I know they're lying. I absolutely positively have no doubt they are lying when they say they have no emails, because unless they deleted everything every day, they're lying. And that's a problem. So even with that formal training, there are
because
people,
even I have like 4,000 unread emails.
So with Brian, Brian is on a city board. He's been on the Brownsville Animal Regulation and Care Center. So he received training as part of that board. He received training as part of the task force. But above and beyond that, by him having a city email address, now it's not at his discretion whether or not to turn emails over. Now, when a public information request comes through, staff isn't even obligated to tell him that there's a public information request. Staff has full access to his emails, and they pull them without him having to lift a finger. So there's no chance that anything can be hidden by him having a city email address, versus if he was doing stuff on his personal email, the taxpayers would never know whether or not he's turning everything over.
Okay.
So
and he's just there with you like a part-time deal, and he has another full-time job, correct?
He's got several that he does marketing individually. Social media is his focus. He's also the membership and marketing coordinator for the Midi-Cultural District. Now, for me, remember, as a city commissioner, we get $10 a meeting and a car allowance, and that's it. So I don't pay him an hourly wage and not even a good salary. I give him $500 a month. And that is not a lot of money considering everything I have him do. And honestly, he was willing to do it all for free. It wasn't until I did not know there was a car allowance when I ran for commissioner. Once I learned there was a car allowance, I decided I don't need that money. I make a very good living with AT&T and the board fees that I get paid as a board member of the Midi Foundation. So I decided to take the car allowance and use that to pay my chief of staff. So I felt that was the least I could do.
And just refresh my memory. Did you say it was just him as your chief of staff, or did you have like several members as
far as paid individuals go? Brian is the only one who's paid by me. The others that I have that I consider part of my staff, and that's why I have a chief of staff, JD De Leon, Angel Rodriguez, Jerry Danache, and Michelle Garcia are four of my closest advisors, and they have their finger on the pulse in different areas of the city and different things going on. So they advise me when they hear things that I need to be aware of. And there are times where if there's something going on that I can't be at, I will send one of them in my place to be my eyes and ears. Because
they're somebody city, or they're just like they're.
Ask that one more time. Right? Ask that one more time.
Are they city employees, or they're just
they're not city employees
to help you?
These are just volunteers.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear that they're just volunteers. All right, cool. Let's see. Let's go. How much money was made during Sombrero Fest, and how has the money been spent?
So Sombrero Festival is, luckily, in the last several years, we are now $1 million event. Now that's gross revenue. That's not net. And I haven't looked at the financials yet for this year, the end of year reports, because we were still paying bills the last time we generated one. But the overhead cost of the festival can run anywhere from $800,000 to $950,000 a year. That's our expenses. Part of that is the donations we make to nonprofits, because we consider that part of our operational expenses. And so like this year, about $85,000 is going to nonprofit organizations and causes. And then we've got our expenses for security, rental world for tents, entertainment, stage lights and sound, so many other little things that are part of it. So our profit this year is probably going to be pretty lean. I guess we're going to return a profit well under $100,000 this year. And generally we shoot for 6-figure profits. And again, that's 6-figure profit is after making donations this year of $85,000. And then those profits we put in the bank, because when I got involved with Sombrero Festival back in 2004, 2005, the organization was $100,000 in debt. And their headquarters back then was just literally a warehouse for storage, rat infested. It was bad. And they were at a point where they had a bad year at Linear Park, a bad year at Dean Porter. And if they had one more bad year, they were going to be filing for bankruptcy. And that came direct from their board chair and their GM at the time. And luckily, we had a really dynamic team coming in. Tommy Bermudez was the incoming president for 2006, and I was fortunate enough to be picked for his team. And there were only 8 of us back then, 8 officers. And we started bringing in new ideas, changing the way we did business. We moved back to Washington Park. And since then, we have slowly built our way back up to first paying off all the debt, getting back to being able to make donations to the community, to nonprofit causes, then completely remodeling our headquarters. And now in more recent years, putting money in the bank, because my goal has always been, I'd like us to be able to have $2 million in the bank or in investments earning interest, so that at any time, if we have a pandemic, for example, if we have a horrible year, rain out, bad weather, whatever, we can financially weather that. We should not be dependent on that one weekend every year. We have to be able to weather 2 or 3 bad years in a row if it came to that. So a lot of money gets put into reserve accounts and investment accounts so that we can generate interest to ensure the health of our operations for the future. And that way, even if we end up with years that are not profitable as the festival proper, there's still monies available to make donations to nonprofit causes.
Okay. And you said there was quite a few nonprofit organizations that had donations?
Every year we have so many. We probably got anywhere from 300 to 500 volunteers each year. Everything from selling tickets to helping with wristbands, picking up trash, selling beer. Just anywhere and everywhere you look, you're going to see volunteers all over the park.
Cool. Next one says, what is the update with Daniel Mulstad? I believe you and the mayor were going to investigate his hiring. Why won't the other commissioners come onto the show and answer questions like you?
I can't speak for number 4. That's a great question. And unfortunately, each commissioner is at liberty to accept or decline invitations. Yeah. Personally, I feel that as a public servant, we have an obligation, not just to update the public, because that's easy to do. I could put out a statement on social media, or I could just put out a video on social media and call that an update. But I believe we have a higher obligation, and that includes answering questions directly from the public. And again, as long as they're reasonable, rational questions, not why are you all racist? That's not a question I'm going to. That's just ridiculous. But questions like these, personally, yes, I feel we have an obligation to answer questions like this for the public.
Can you bring over the mayor?
I will always invite them. I'm proud to say that on the other show that I used to come out on, I was able to bring out Commissioner Golonsky from District 1. She came on the show and answered questions, and I'm very proud of her for that. And I know we're working towards a town hall in May. And I need to reach out to the city manager's office on Monday to start working on the details. But I'm looking for Commissioner Cardenas and I to kick that off. But this type of format where it'll be live, in person, and citizens can ask questions in real time and have them answered by myself and Commissioner Cardenas.
Was that like the downtown talk that they had recently?
No, the downtown talks was with city staff. And that was Alan Garces, who was the downtown manager. And that was to give him a chance to start to get to know the business owners in downtown Brownsville. And them to get to know him and talk about what are the issues that are pressing for downtown residents and business owners, so that we can ensure if they're not already being addressed, we put them on the radar to be addressed in the future. And that should be, I believe, a quarterly get together.
Yeah. And was he able to get enough information to get something going?
It was a good turnout from the pictures that I saw. And I know they had the Revival of Cultural Arts kids come in and do a performance afterwards as well. And they're right in that same vicinity in downtown Brownsville. I have not had a chance to catch up with Mr. Garces since then to find out what his thoughts are on the feedback. But all the other reports I've received so far have been very positive. Cool. And the pictures look great. It looked like everybody was happy. And on the town hall I'm working on with Commissioner Cardenas, I'm hoping this will inspire our colleagues to start doing the same, at least quarterly, have 2 or 3 members of the commission come out and answer questions for the public. And if they're not willing, I'll respect that. I'll still be coming out on a quarterly basis and here more frequently to answer questions. That was number 4. Okay, number 3. I do not have an update on Daniel Mulstad. I think most of the information the public knows and that I know is the same thing that Sam and Erasmo have shared, and that he is out on bail. I don't even know if a court date is set yet for him to be back in court or for the case to begin or the trial to begin. That's all I know right now. I'm not sure what the next step is, if they're still trying to work on what the plea is, or if there's going to be a plea agreement, or if they're asking him to testify against people. That I don't know. I think the public at this point knows almost as much as I do.
Okay.
And as far as were we going to investigate, we did send a request to the Children's Museum, and they did indicate that they would like to have a face-to-face meeting with myself and the mayor. So we're working on setting that up.
Cool. The other question is, are you still at Jake's?
I am. I'm on the back patio at Jake's.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, I thought about jumping in the car and taking it on the road, but I'm like, the internet signal in and out. It always drops at the Bahia Grande. So I'm like, no, they got good Wi-Fi here. Let me take it on the back patio. I would have taken it inside, but Danica's still singing.
Raises Sam was. I'm trying to recall the what was that referring to? Just noticed that Roy kind of looks like Kevin Spacey.
I hope that's a compliment, not
in an angle. Yeah, if he leans back to where it's completely dark. Yes.
I'm a fan of his acting.
Link for the Palo Alto Battlefield reenactment tomorrow, please, Sam. On that one, I just went to the events on Facebook, and all the current events start popping up. Or just search Palo Alto Battlefield; it should pop up right away. I'll try to see if I can find the.
I think let me see if I got the one. I think at visitbtx.com, you should be able to find a calendar there with the events. So that's visitbtx.com.
Let me see if I can get have the link here. Let me see. I'll see if I can put it in a bit. Okay. It's like it's separated. Sorry. But yes, just search up Palo Alto Battlefield, and then it should pop up under the Living History program. But it's pretty nice. I went to the one for the Resaca de la Palma. I think it was like last year or the year before, and they always pop the cannons there.
Nice.
Next one says April Fool's, haha. I don't even know to which comment that one is. I mean, one lucky student sold her
1 million.
Oh, that is true. The one for the yes, but it was a big one though. It was a light brown, big.
Yeah, but $1 million for a heifer?
I guess it was like a perfect one.
No, even a perfect one. I don't know if. Tell us, Luis, was that more about the purchaser just being that generous and wanting to help out a student, or was there something special about this heifer? Because I think even 6 figures would be really out there for a heifer, much less 7.
The next one says the whole section where HEB on Boca Chica to El Globo lights on the right side going north, not the center ones. From Boca Chica, HEB Boca Chica to El Globo. So from Boca Chica to Price on the right-hand side.
On the right side. I'll look at those.
Usually you're just seeing the center ones because you're on the fast lane. Next one says, Commissioner, why is the wood subdivision divided in half when paying taxes? Half of us pay taxes to BISD, the other half to LFISD.
I know what you're talking about. I used to live in cross-country trails right behind the woods, and I was zoned in the Los Fresnos School District. And unfortunately, that's not anything the city has any say over. That's about the school districts and when they create their districts and territories, and as they annex additional land as well. And I think once upon a time, Brownsville was nowhere near what was then Tejon Road before it was even Altenglor. And Los Fresnos started annexing the land. And so by the time Brownsville started growing out that way, it was already Los Fresnos School District. And I think the same is true out at, what's the neighborhood off of 511?
Oh, like Rio del Sol?
Rio del Sol, thank you. Yeah, I think they're Los Fresnos also.
Yeah, but I know that Brownsville city limits also, like, it's quite a bit towards closer to Los Fresnos, right? Like when it gets close to Harvey.
There's short little branches that go well past Los Fresnos. It's bizarre when you look at the map. There's one that goes way past Los Fresnos.
Square.
One that goes out to the Bayview Airport. It goes out to the Laguna Tascosa, and then up, it looks like, to the San Benito city limits.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Um, since hot funded arenas come with limits for use, can county arenas be used as emergency shelters?
I'm not aware of limits on the use for arenas that are paid for with hot funds. I know there are restrictions on how hot funds can be spent, but an arena would be an approved expenditure. I don't know if they're limited then on what they can and can't do with the arena. Whether or not they can be used as an emergency shelter, that's a very good question. And I'm not sure if that's something that would come into play more with the design of the structure, because I know we've got those domes like at the sports park that are built specifically to be an emergency shelter in mind when it's designed and
Didn't they
constructed.
have like an issue about like the generators not being ready last time when they needed them?
I don't think it was that the generators weren't ready. I think the generators were being used somewhere else for something else when they should have been there, is what I heard. But again, that was before I was in office.
Oh, okay, understood. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll use it. Like if it's big and something catastrophic were to happen.
I mean, depending on what the emergency is and whether or not the structure is sound enough to weather that, I would not see why not. But that's something I'll have to ask our county judge.
The new downtown lamps are going to last. They look so thin and flimsy.
I haven't gotten a good look at them, Georgina. That's a really good question. I need to go out there and do that.
Okay. Mr. De Los Santos, has the City Commission ever considered putting together internships with students focused on political science or working in their MPA? I think it would be amazing to give our future leaders an opportunity to be in the mix of things. Just a thought.
I can't speak to this specifically with regard to MPA or political science. I can tell you that the city has had interns already. Over last summer, I know they had several interns in several departments, because I remember there was also a going away party held for the interns at Terra's right before they went back to college. And in fact, it was interns who were involved in the process for the first mural and selecting that first artist. I know right now there are also some interns happening with our legal department, and it's students who are in law school, I believe at St. Mary's, possibly at UT, that have internships with the city. So I know the city is working, has active internships going on. I just can't say for sure political science or MPA comes into play. I would think that they do, because especially for planning, it seems like a perfect fit.
I'll give it one.
And I think the idea also, Luis, on that is not just giving them an opportunity to be part of it, but I think the hope is that they will like what they see so much that after they get their degrees, they'll want to come back down and work in South Texas.
Yeah. Quick question: is Leadership Brownsville separate from like the city?
Yes, completely.
Okay. Next question is: can that town hall be made without pre-screened questions? Because the city needs to answer questions on the fly.
Oh, absolutely. The town hall that I'm talking about, that I'm designing, there would not be any pre-screened questions. It would be, there'll be somebody like Sam right now is monitoring the comments and advancing the comments. And if there's something that's inappropriate, he could skip it. And I expect we will have something like that. But I mean, for something to not go up on the screen or to get skipped, it has to be profanity or a threat or something.
Or unless we don't get ratings and then we just click on that question.
But yeah, as a commissioner, I would expect live questions on the fly. And I agree. The city should be able to answer questions on the fly.
Next question is: we need lights on Morrison and Laredo. Do you
Yes,
think
we do.
anything could be done since
The funding's been approved.
quite a few accidents there?
The funding's already been approved for that light, but I know there's engineering studies that go along with it, and the supply chain issues that the entire country is facing right now. That's part of the problem. That's part of why City Commission was meeting at the library for so many months, because the technology we needed to get commission chambers back up and running was on back order because of supply chain issues. And as I understand it, we still haven't gotten what we need that was originally intended.
And you guys were still having like microphone issues, right?
Very minor now. We saw big improvements at the special meeting we had this past Wednesday compared to the previous meeting.
Next question is: what can citizens do when they have their running water turn yellow or brown? Sometimes people will reach out to Erasmo for help because they don't know what to do or where to report it.
Anything related to utilities that are PUB related, then you can absolutely report those to 546 help or directly to PUB. And I can only speak to this right now because I had this issue recently in my apartment. They were doing some type of work on the water lines. And so all of the residents got a notice that if you turn on your water, and of course, you hear the air trying to get pumped out of the pipes, that's always the first alarming thing you encounter. But then, yeah, the color of the water. And the advice we were given was let it run until it's clear. So that is flushing out whatever sediment there is in the pipes.
Yeah, because I do know that there's some companies that do like water filtration,
Yep.
but that's also like another expense besides whatever you're already paying.
Yeah.
And then also, what are your thoughts with Judge Casco and his comments about the arena?
Judge Gascos is a very good friend of mine as well, and I've sent clients to him for business in his capacity as a CPA. And I think when he was a county judge, he did a very fine job. This is just one of those issues where he's on the opposite side of the current compared to the current administration. And I have not looked in depth into Judge Gascos's concerns, but I know bottom line is the Upper Valley has 2 arenas already, and how many times have we talked about why is Brownsville always playing catch up? Why is Cameron County always playing catch up?
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. And here's a fine example is, you've got more tourism up there, more sales tax revenue, bigger concerts, bigger events. And sometimes when people go to those events and know they want to drink, they're going to stay overnight. And that just generates more revenue for the city. So I think we need to have something like that here. And if the hot tax will help us attain that, and if we're already seeing success with the amphitheater out at Isla Blanca, I don't see any reason not to continue investing this way.
Okay. And you guys have seen like a profit on the amphitheater, correct?
That it's Cameron County, so I can't speak to that. That's on South Padre.
Because I think that was his Judge Carlos Casco's point of view that he was seeing the numbers, and to him it wasn't coming out fiscally responsible to jump into a county arena.
Keep in mind, just
yeah.
like with Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones and that stadium, a big part of that is subsidized by the city. And it's not because it's going to turn a profit and make money for the city as a venue. It's because of the business it draws and the tourism it draws. It's the sales taxes in restaurants, in hotel stays, in anything and everything else, that there's this big ripple effect. That's the same thing here. If somebody's saying, well, I want to see where this arena is going to make a profit of $1 million a year, I don't think that's the expectation here.
Yeah. So just to confirm, what you're stating is that we're getting a national football team.
Depends on which nation you're referring to.
But now I understand. It's because what I always ask people, like, do you think people from McAllen or Edinburgh area or Corpus will come down for a concert if they were to build an arena here of 10,000 seats?
It depends on the concert. If it's a concert that has not happened
up there, who come. I know the people that like. I understand. Well, people like Pitbull and I don't know who else they have brought over down here to like the McAllen area.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen like the ones that go to the island is sometimes like 10 years past their expired date.
Yep.
And I'm like, it would have to be someone like new.
Well, one, you got to keep in mind which artist you can attract is tied in part to how many seats you have.
Yeah.
2, we should not be building anything, in my opinion, unless it's going to have more seats than either of the arenas in the Upper Valley. There's no point in building something that's smaller than either one of those or just the same size. We need to have more capacity than they do, even if it's just 1,000 or 2,000.
You know who else was trying to get not dibs on it, but they were trying to say like, hey, well, can we use it too? The Los Fresnos Rodeo.
Yep. I think that should be a consideration. I know the arenas in the Upper Valley have had ice skating and Disney on Ice and things like that. If you can put in an ice skating rink, I don't see why you couldn't do an indoor rodeo there. Yeah. I would love to see that.
I wonder if it's big enough for those, what's it called? Those monster trucks?
That's a good question.
It wouldn't be too big.
I don't know.
Cool. Well, like all that information, that would be like good questions for them to post out there. Because I know when they first were trying to put it on the ballot for November, I know I saw the county judge, Trevino, and the commissioner for District 3 that went to the meeting there in Los Fresnos, and they were like, it was like a 2-3 weeks before voting,
Yeah.
and they were kind of like just yeah, there's our point of view. It's great, everything's gonna be good, but they were just short of like you said, 55 votes.
Well, and even now, we're just over a month away from this vote. I think it's May 7th. Have you
Yes,
seen a lot of publicity on it? I mean, we're talking about it as
yeah,
individuals.
we're talking about, but I haven't seen much about it.
Exactly. That's a problem.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if they were to put, that's why I try to do a whole lot of pros and cons, like
Yep.
for any issue. Like okay, let's see if the good outweighs the bad.
I
Next one
think
says learn.
the good far outweighs the bad.
Yeah, learn something new every day. Thanks. This was the link to that
Awesome.
Palo Alto battlefield reenactment. What location are you thinking for the new city hall?
For which city?
I think you're talking regarding like the town hall meeting. Like what you
I'm
were
sorry.
saying. I think. I think
Okay,
that's
yeah. So we're not talking about building a new city hall. Let me
no,
clarify
no, no.
that. I don't want to start rumors. Um,
I
I know
think
I need to talk to staff and see what we think. If we think the majority of the interaction is going to be from people online, or if we think there might be a need for in-person presence as well. Because if we need room for in-person presence, then that limits what locations we can use, of course. The other problem with in-person would potentially be as people in the audience are asking questions, the viewers online may not be able to hear what those are. Just like kind of with city commission meetings is you can't tell what some of the people are saying. That might be a negative experience to some extent. And I want to avoid that because of the sound issues we've had before. So it may be that we do something 100% online. That way everybody can be heard and the questions are in writing for everyone to see. And if that's the case, then we can do it almost anywhere with a good high-speed connection. But if there's going to be any in-person presence, then we'll look at a location, possibly the event center, possibly somewhere else.
okay. Because I'm thinking like okay, like it'll be online where people are submitting their questions, and if someone's there that wants to ask a question, they could just be writing it in a cell phone from
Yeah,
somebody who's
that's
already
true.
like logged in.
That's
Although
very
you
true.
won't know who wrote it because it will be under someone's profile, but
Yep,
the question will still be up there.
that could work. That's a good idea.
Um, and quick question, going back to that, since you said he was going to be done with Cardenas and your District 3, and he's like in the downtown district, would it
District
be
4.
more towards the downtown area where you would have the town hall? Where it kind of like
As far as where
both
we'd
of
hold it,
y'all
or as far as what we talk about?
chicken?
Wait, are you talking about as far as where we hold it, or are you talking about?
Yes, where you
Okay,
hold it.
I don't think that would be a factor. I don't think I'd look for something specifically in District 4, District 3, because that's where we're from. It may work out that way, it may not. And I say that only because City Hall is in District 4 and the event center is in District 3. So that's definitely a possibility, but I wouldn't rule out anything else, like maybe even the library. The public library would be another location, which is also in District 3. But yeah, I wouldn't think about the venue in terms of is it in
Although
my
they might
district?
ask you to use your inside voice
Uh,
at the library.
Commissioner de Los Santos doesn't have an inside voice. Most people know that already.
Sir, they're reading books here. Could you keep it down? Let me go next to the next one. How will you be promoting the town halls?
Social media, and a lot of that will be my team, my chief of staff, and my team and our network, because I know the city can do a good job of putting stuff out on the city's social media platforms, but not enough citizens follow that. And not enough citizens who even go and check the city's social media like enough of the posts. And if you're not liking those posts, then it's not going to pop up in your feed later. So that's part of the problem is I don't think we do enough to reach as many people as possible. So I'll be leveraging what networks we have at our disposal.
What about like those electronic billboards?
We could. I don't know that they would generate that much.
No.
I know I could tell you, like with Sombrero Festival this year, especially because of the pandemic, our focus on advertising was social media. And it was boosting ads, paying for targeted ads, but lots of social media. I don't think we did any billboards like we have in years past. And I don't think we did any newspaper like we have in years past. And I don't
Do you
even think we did
promote out
radio.
of town by any chance?
We do. We do. I mean, not a lot outside of the valley. Most of what we do is Cameron County and northern Mexico because that is where our base generally comes from. We do have those that travel to see us from outside of the Rio Grande Valley, and they're just loyal followers who've been with us for years. Winter Texans that are down that time of year already, and we track all of that. And
Speaking
a
of
lot of
Winter
times
Texans, have
we
you ever
also,
tried those dinner shows that they do for Winter Texans
as
at the
far
island?
as like
At
been
the
to one
island?
of the shows,
Yeah, you have you seen those in the dinner shows at the
I don't.
island?
I don't think I have.
You pay like maybe I think it's like about 35-40 bucks a plate,
Hmm.
but you get like a 3 course meal and a show. But like I think last time it was like a ABBA, the group ABBA,
Really?
like they're like
Oh, I would have
imitators.
loved that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I don't know that I know that they still do some, but I think they stopped like at a certain time. I think from like December through February.
I need to check on that because I would love to see something with ABBA.
Yeah. Next question is why doesn't the mall have the lights on at the parking lot?
That is an excellent question. It's not a city property, but the GM is a very good friend of mine. I will reach out to him and ask that.
Next question is they need to cover the potholes on Dennett Street.
Please call that into 546 help, and when you get the work order number, send that over to the show, and I'll get on that right away. I get lots of citizens to reach out to me with requests for resurfacing and filling potholes, and that's the same advice I give them. And then immediately, I will give the department a heads up, letting them know that this work order's been called in and that I've got my eye on it because it's in my district.
Yeah, because it'll be like they're not gonna redo that street until it gets populated. Correct?
I don't know what the long term plan is. I know I drove through there with the city manager right after I came on board, and we talked about the need for curbs and gutters and drainage and everything in that
Yeah.
area. But I don't remember if I've seen the timeline yet for how far we think out that is.
Okay.
And that's a problem area. Danette, Stillman, and the neighborhoods right around there. Tradition Circle is one of my big pain points because of the flooding there. And
Yeah,
still,
because
for the life of me, I
like
don't
they're
see
building a huge, what's it called? They're building like a huge residential area by Stagecoach and Dennett, and don't aren't they?
Oh yeah, that's Kings something, I think. But yeah, right across Stagecoach from Cross Country Trails.
Yeah. Next question is: if the sports parks don't generate revenue to the city, is there any plans to the city? The city is considering to make it more profitable.
I have not heard of any plans that would potentially make it more profitable. Um, I was not a fan of the whole sports park idea when it was first conceived. I was one of the ones who said, if you're going to invest in a park like this, you need to have a center court or a center field, something where you can have big concerts. And my
Yeah.
idea back then was soccer is a much more popular sport. We have a lot more talent for soccer, both in Brownsville, the Valley, and northern Mexico. I know we had teams that went on to national championships in soccer at Texas Southmost College and UT
Yeah.
Brownsville. So I really, and plus when I've been to Jimmy Buffett concerts, a lot of them are at Pizza Hut Park in Frisco, Texas, and it may have changed names by now, but it was a soccer stadium. And I love that you had the arena seating. You could put 20,000 people in there. You had a field where you could play all different types of sports on. That is a direction I think the sports park should have gone in originally because in the years
Who's
it
in charge of it?
Parks and Rec.
But they have like no like future plans for it.
They know they continue to expand what they're doing there. And in fact, I know I've just seen promos for a big concert that's coming at the end of April, I believe, or
It's not
sometime
Boys
in
to Men,
April.
is it?
What's that?
It's not Boys to Men, is it?
No, no, no. This is I remember that one. This is a reggaeton, I think, type of concert, and it's several different artists. And from what I saw as I went to the website, Top Box Tickets is where the tickets are selling. And if you go to the little shopping center where Mi Pueblito is, a
Yeah.
lot of those businesses are sponsors, and so you've got a lot of big advertisements for it there in that plaza. But when you look at the seating options, it's the entire football field that's laid out where this concert's going to be held. So it looks like, and I
Is it
know the
a
city
top
had
chart?
brought in turf to protect the artificial turf to be able to have concerts on those grounds now.
Okay, and you said it was at topchart.com?
Top Box Tickets.
Oh,
Let me see if I've got it. Yeah, it looks like Reggaeton Fest. Um,
Oh, I think you see it.
you see it?
Um,
Yeah, Dame Reggaeton Fest, Brownsville Sports Park, featuring Ina,
I
Danny.
was reading Damn Reggaeton Fest.
Oh no, not damn.
It's Dame Reggaeton
Dame
Fest.
Reggaeton.
Guaina, Danny Ocean, Mariah Angelic, Jay Alvarez. I think I've heard of Jay Alvarez, Alexis and Fido, RKM, and Ken Y.
Oh, May 29th, so it's Memorial Day weekend.
Presentation by Big Boy, the Big Boy. I think I've heard of Big Boy. He went to Porter, no, LC, something like that.
I have no idea.
Cool. Because I know over there at the HEB Park, they also do. They bring they do like amateur games for the soccer for the Mexican national teams.
Okay.
And I know that's one of the ways they do. Like I guess one of the events that they have there in HEB Park.
Hmm.
But I'm sure people here because that's one of the main things. Like I guess soccer. But I'm sure soccer concerts, all those things could be something to be like events to make profit out of that or make
Okay.
use of it. Next question is depends on concert, Sam. I'm going to Austin for Incubus. Yeah, those are not new. Dave Chappelle, bring Chris Rock. Too soon. That'll be hilarious. The pavilion from Dean Park can be a start.
No, the pavilion at Dean Porter is now the Children's Museum. That's part of their expansion.
Okay. You need to have it in person. Just repeat the question when asked. It's easy. Some people won't be online for this.
Good feedback. Thank you, Luis.
Um, or any of the other parks, libraries for that matter. Oh, for the town hall meeting.
Yep, I like
I
that.
consider myself pretty educated, but that City of Bronzeville website, I find it's a little hard to navigate and kind of confusing. Now imagine our seniors wanting to find info and not being able to.
No, and I can tell you on the website, it's come a long way, and it's still a disappointment. I my biggest pet peeve is when I go on there because I'm trying to find out who's in a certain department, and I cannot find it in the directory on our website. And I'm fairly tech savvy. I know how to navigate stuff, but sometimes the information just is not there, and it's just not laid out in a user friendly way. It needs to be overhauled.
I know Cameron County's regional mobility website needs to be updated. It's like way outdated.
I'll talk to their board. I know one of the board members over there.
Next one says, "You see, Roy, it's cool that you want to do a town hall, but the people that have a show that have to show up are the mayor and other commissioners. You're not the problem here. You're here answering questions.
I appreciate that, Snoopy.
Part of the problem is the mindset that social media will bring folks. You can't compare Sombrero to a new town hall.
Oh no, and I wasn't comparing Sombrero to Town Hall. I was just talking about the efficacy of using social media to market something.
How it's more economical.
Well, it's definitely more economical, but you can reach a lot more people more quickly. And even with the targeted advertising, because even if you put the newspaper out in all the right places, it's still the newspaper, and there's still a lot to go through to be able to see the blurb about a town hall.
Question.
Yes.
Are you gonna have some cafecito and some pan there?
It all depends on how many people
And
are
have it like
expecting.
I don't know, like a round table type of deal. Like I don't know, like
I would
some
love that.
interaction type of deal. No,
I like that. Maybe even do like an after the show, after the online show, keep a round table discussion going with the in-person folks. But I like the idea of cafe and pan dulce, and especially buying local from local coffee shops and local panaderias to do that. Possibly from District 3 or District 4 if we're going to be the first two on the show.
yeah,
That's a way we can give business to some of our constituents.
cool, man. You could spread it through the kiddos at school.
That's a good suggestion.
What are your thoughts on the 6 or 7 people in the city of Brownsville getting paid close to $1 million combined in salary. Don't you feel that's too much?
It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot of money. But bottom line, and the way I look at this is you're going to get what you pay for. Now, here's the problem. It's not just about pay somebody really good money and then let them go and let them do their thing. You've still got to be the watchdog. There still has to be checks and balances. And I don't think we do enough as a commission to do that with our staff. But as far as what I see from our staff, I'm impressed because I knew going into this, like when I talk to people running for office and they're going to be my state rep or my state senator or even in Congress, and they talk about, taxes. I'm like, I'm not going to ask you to lower my taxes. And I'm not even going to ask you not to raise my taxes because I know that the things that I want to see done in my city, in my state, and in our country require spending. All I ask is that you spend the people's money responsibly. So that's a big part of it. So same thing here. I like what we're doing as far as our capital improvement plan, as far as the long range planning for how we pay for things, how we fund things, how we finance things, and where our financial priorities lie. I think we are doing such a better job now than we were 10 years ago. And I think 10 years ago it was easy for administrations to just lower taxes or put stuff off because they didn't want to make the tough decisions. And I've got some of those decisions coming before me and the rest of my colleagues on the commission in the very near future. And we have to look at this from the perspective of what's popular versus what is the right thing to do for Brownsville, not just today, but for the future. So is it a lot of money that we've got people making $1 million cumulatively? Yes, it's a lot of money. Is it too much? I think that has to be judged based on the return we're seeing on that investment. And are we seeing it? So far, we're seeing more for our money than we did previously. Are we seeing enough? Not yet. But I like the trajectory we're on. And I will continue to hold them accountable.
Yeah, like it's going in the correct way compared to way before.
It is the biggest
in a better way.
The deficits that I see right now are three of the biggest deficits. Infrastructure is one, and that has a lot to do with raising the standards for building new developments. And I'm very proud of Harlingen for having done this recently. I'm very disappointed in Brownsville for once again playing catch up to other cities in the valley when we've been talking about this for too long already. So infrastructure is one, paying our employees what they are worth. City frontline employees haven't had a raise in 7 years. Bonuses don't count, especially when they're funded by the federal government. If you're properly managing the city, you're able to give your employees a cost of living raise. And if we're not doing that, that's an area where we are failing. The third is our electrical and utility grid. And that's more on PUB than on the city of Brownsville, but that's something we need to ensure we're focusing on for the future. I think when it comes to water, PUB has laid the groundwork and it has us in good shape, especially when we're seeing the low levels at the reservoirs at Falcon and Amistad and some of the cities in the Upper Valley that depend on those water levels, and even cities in Mexico are hurting. So Brownsville is not as susceptible to those low levels as the other cities are. And that's because in some areas, PUB has done an outstanding job. We need to also do an outstanding job with ensuring our grid can handle a winter storm again, ensuring we move power lines underground so they're not as susceptible to the elements, and ensure we are generating enough power to take care of our needs so that we don't have to experience rolling blackouts to the extent we did during the winter storm.
And they had mentioned that they were gonna, I guess, what was it that happened with the whole Tenasca thing? That they were gonna, like, I guess, reduce the rate, or no? It was gonna be reduced a little bit, right?
There's an adjustment of the rate that's being talked about right now, and this is something that's going to come before the commission. I've already asked that this not even be talked about until we see the Tenasca audit, because we shouldn't be discussing
after mid-May, correct?
That's my recommendation, because we shouldn't be talking about what to do with monies when we don't know where the monies have gone.
Yeah. Okay, understood. I'll ask that again after May.
Absolutely. That's a topic I'm going to love discussing.
Next one is good evening. I run short-term rentals in Galveston Island. Does Brownsville have this type of business paying the city hot taxes? curious as having major events helps Galveston create revenue.
That's something we've touched on, Carlos. Not as a city, we haven't touched on it, but I know we've talked about that topic on some of the shows I've been on. I think this was one of them, where I know cities like South Padre Island, if you're renting your property out, you're required to get a permit from the city so that you can collect those hotel occupancy taxes and city taxes related to those rentals if they're short term. Brownsville, to the best of my knowledge, is not capitalizing on that yet. And I think it may be that we don't see the volume of Airbnb and those types of rentals happening to justify it, but it's something we need to be watching closely because it is a revenue stream for the future that we need to develop and cultivate.
Once it grows bigger and has more foot traffic.
And we're definitely headed in that direction. So the plan should already be fully baked so that we know this is how we're going to do it. This is when we're going to roll it out so that it's ready to go when the time is right. We can't wait until, hey, we've got a lot of rentals we're not collecting on. What do we do? No, we can't do that.
Yeah. Next is an awesome show without Erasmo. I'll make sure to screenshot.
Thank you, guys.
We use social media while in Austin for council town halls, and it didn't bring no more or no less. Still the same people. However, we use many apps, homeowners association, local television ads, yard signs. Just make sure to pick them up.
Good suggestions.
And don't let Erasmo show up to that live town hall because he isn't gonna let anyone get a word in edgewise. My Erasmo talks too much. El pobre.
Want to come say hello to the viewers? Yes. Yeah. This is Danica, who's been singing tonight here. Jake's, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Wonderful. How are you tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Now, I was very blessed tonight because this wonderful man got up on my stage. Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, that's a pen. I thought it was a microphone.
I don't know.
All right. Wait, hold on. Wait, I thought it was a microphone. So, hello. Anyway, I'm crazy. But anyway, he got up on my stage and sang tonight. If you've never heard this beautiful man sing.
What song was it? Out of curiosity.
3 songs.
3 songs. Oh, I don't know what my favorite was. To be honest, it felt like as it was singing, just the radio was playing. He's that good.
I did some Frankie Avalon, some Jerry Reed,
right.
and some
he
Dire
did
Straits.
Beauty School Dropout.
I did.
Yes.
Hey, I was telling him about the dinner shows that they have at the island. They're still doing those or not anymore?
Dinner shows where?
Like, do they still have the dinner shows? Like, I know the, Longboard used to do them. I know Stitterbond. I know they already changed Stitterbond. But they used to have, like,
Longboards does all kinds of things. I mean, it's just, there's so many amazing things that go on here.
And I know Lobo de Mar was also doing dinner shows, weren't they?
Yes. We all do dinner shows.
You won't catch me dead there. They're big Trump fans. Erasmo can go there. I'll go next door to Longboard.
You're smoking what? He's smoking what? Apparently, I hear that's going to be legal this month in Texas.
That would be awesome.
Anyway, yeah. Apparently, we're getting
marijuana
legal this month.
Let's hope. I always said if I were the
moving forward,
I'd vote to legalize it.
There you go. Well,
at least to decriminalize it.
It's just a plant.
Yes.
Yeah, I like, salt grass, whatever. All right. Anyway, I just came to photobomb his world because he came in and he was eating dinner and bought me a glass of wine. I'm like, you're going to sing? You're like, no. And then he got up and sang and it was amazing because you're always amazing. And I love you.
Thank you, my dear.
With all my heart. This man's amazing. If you've not ever heard him sing, you need to hear him sing. And whether or not we have the same political views or the same smoking pot views or the same whatever views, I don't care. All I know is that I have loved
at the island. Everything, like, it's all good.
That's
hey,
right.
You know what? In my entire life, it is all good because I have nothing but love for you, and I don't even know you, but I still have nothing but love for you. And this one I've known for many years. That's why I came to just like crash his podcast. I'm like, where the hell did Roy go? Where the hell did Roy? He's outside. Okay. So anyway, I love you. So there you go.
Cool. Enjoy your night.
Not at all, my dear. I love
I
it.
say on camera?
Of course you can.
I hope I didn't fuck up your interview.
It's an after dark show.
No.
Yeah. All right. Love you. Hey, come see me in Florida. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I love you.
Love you too.
This man's amazing.
Careful.
Do you need a glass of wine or something?
Just water. I'm not drinking right now. I'm on probation.
I don't even want to know about that. I don't even want to
The
know.
audience already
You're
knows.
not on camera.
Glass of water, please. Club soda and lime. Thank you.
Especially not on camera. Oh god, that's bad. And now you're talking. The ones who need to be paid well and deserve the raises are the entry level or field
Absolutely.
employees.
Absolutely.
Have they talked about anything about any raises?
There's a compensation study coming, and I know what's going to happen is the study's going to get done. It's going to say our employees are underpaid, and they're going to want to give them a pay adjustment, which will be a raise. But I'll tell you right now, what I'm going to fight for is how many compensation studies have we done that always end up telling us the same thing? Our employees are underpaid. So what we need to do is build in regular cost of living increases every year. You could still do your compensation study at some point just to see with are we keeping up with what we should be with inflation and cost of living, or are we not? But it shouldn't be a one time and we'll get back to you in another 5 years. It needs to be, if we're not cutting it right now, and we know we're not, then we need to build in regular raises, whether it's 1%, 2%, something that is automatic unless there's action by the commission to override it, whether it's to increase it or to say no for whatever reason and we can't afford it, but it should be automatically built into our system.
Is the city having the same issue as other companies and other, like the school district, where they're losing employees, like the police department, fire department, or even in the city hall?
I don't think we're seeing it to a great extent in police and fire because they're paid well because of the union contracts. And this is one reason I'm very pro-union. I think our other employees, so City Hall, City Plaza, our other departments, that's where I think we see the greatest challenges.
Like the libraries?
Yep.
Okay, understood. Next one says from Andres, status on the expressway underpass color lighting.
I know it's coming. I have not paid close attention to that because honestly, it's not a priority for me. I know it's going to be something that's nice to have, but I've got such bigger issues that I'm working on for my constituents than colored lighting.
Is the underpass color lighting, is it going to show to where all the trash is at? Put the spotlight on the trash.
That I don't know.
You know what, man? I was on that part of town, and I didn't even forgot to look to see if the trash was still there on that 12th Street or whatnot. I think it's 12th
is that
Street.
where the homeless encampment was temporarily? Yeah. I have not looked at the ground since the 10th of March.
I know I saw it once, and I did see the trash, but today when I was around there, I didn't see it. Like, I didn't look over it.
I'll be sure to check that. And I drove by there today, but I didn't look.
Yeah, we tend to turn the other way.
Well, it's because I was turning right on 14, so I was already looking at one.
The next says opening that button. You're good with it. That's a good trick.
Yep.
Will you be streaming this town hall? That might help with the younger generation, showing this to parents, friends, etc.
Yes, that's the whole point. Is it has to be online live, and people need to have the ability to interact, to send in their questions. And I'd like us to set it for a minimum of 90 minutes because I think once you start talking and answering questions and getting into issues,
it's gonna be a whole lot of
you're not going to get done in an hour.
Yeah, and then if you do it in an hour, people are gonna think that it's like being rushed. Like, oh no, that's it,
Exactly.
That's it. Like,
yeah, I think it's got to be a 90-minute minimum. If not, yeah, it's got to be 90 minutes, if not 2 hour minimum, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know it's a little bit. I'm not too sure if it's connected or not or off topic, but maybe that's a good way to start getting people, I guess, the younger crowds registered to vote and explaining them how the whole process works and how a single person can make a difference.
That's really the key, Sam. You're right on there because I don't think it's as challenging to get people registered to vote. The challenge is getting them to vote once they're registered. I think like half of our population is registered, but only 10% of that shows up to vote, which is So basically 5% of our population. And I get it. They're like, it's always the same people. It's always the same things. They don't take care of my needs or my issues.
Because I know that. I can't say it like set in stone, but I could have sworn last time there was a voting. I was in Houston, and what
Mhm.
they were doing is you take your voting sticker. Like there were several businesses
Yep.
that were kind of like, "Hey, bring your sticker, and we'll give you like a donut or we'll give you a coffee," and then they'll just stamp it. That way, they already know that you got something. But it will be something like that. If there could be like several businesses because it affects businesses as well.
I think
Who's
that's a great idea. We need to start reaching out because I know we've done stuff like that with Sombrero Festival where you can take your wristband to get a free breakfast taco and things like that.
yeah.
I don't see any reasons we couldn't encourage businesses to do something like that.
Yeah, that was Stripes Tacos. I'm pretty sure they'll say yes.
The thing is, you're not just going to go in for the taco. You're going to buy other things while you're there. So it generates business. But yeah, if we can encourage people to vote, of course, the folks on the right are going to criticize us for trying to buy votes and entice people.
But you're not saying who to vote for. You're like
Exactly.
just vote.
Exactly.
Whoever it may be, left, right, Democrat, Republican, whoever, just
come out
vote,
and vote.
submit your ballot, get a sticker, go to one of the partnering businesses where they offer you a taco, a donut, a coffee, something.
Exactly.
And I'm sure it could increase the numbers somehow.
I would hope.
Let me see. Go to the yeah, they did decriminalize it today federally.
Oh, federally. Interesting. I gotta go check the headlines.
And does that include the THC oils?
Good question. That's why I gotta check the headlines.
And that would bite. Imagine getting arrested the day before, where it was still illegal.
The good thing is, I think if it's being decriminalized now, anybody who's got a case pending, chances are pretty good they can cut a deal to get it dropped now.
Right. Let's see. Boy, there's your new chief of staff. Laughing out loud. Right? You change them. Yes, you are right, Sam. The Alton Glory underpass is always dirty with urraca poop.
But that's all natural. It's biodegradable.
Yeah, that's all natural. I was talking more about the trash that was left by the camp over there. I think it's 12th Street, 14th Street, around there.
Yeah.
I know I saw it last time. And I know that Maggie had said jokingly about going over there with Erasmo, and Erasmo like, I guess you can go and clean it up or something. But somebody has to go over there and clean it up. It doesn't look well.
No, if it's still like that, yeah, I'll talk to Maggie and I'd be happy to jump in and help clean up.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other statements or anything so we can wrap this up?
I don't think so. And yeah, I don't want to stay up too late since I've got that ride in the morning.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Off the top of my head. Yeah. No, that should be a fun ride. I'm looking forward to it. And it's a good way to start Saturday.
Are you going underneath the overpass? That little bridge on Paredes?
We're going over it.
Over it?
Over it. Well, I think, yeah, we've got to go under it first.
Yeah, because I saw something like
you go
that
over.
was not a straight shot. I saw that it wasn't
not a straight shot. Yeah, because if you're coming from the event center, once you cross Alton Glory, you'll go all the way down the trail and you'll take a right under the overpass, and then another right to come to the beginning of the overpass, and then you ride over it and then into Palo Alto.
Okay. I'm sure it'll be cool. I know I've seen before that a lot of people show up for those.
And I've ridden that path before. It's a nice ride.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for helping me out today.
Anytime. I always love coming on and talking to the public.
Yeah, today in the morning was kind of like awkward, just saying events. Not awkward, but just it's different when it's just by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I meant to come on and like ask you questions and stuff this morning, but I was tied up with AT&T business.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
That's why I can't usually do morning shows because I work full time. Anytime, Andres.
All right, man. Well, you guys have a good night. I'm going to close it out.
You too, Sam.